Alright, more than likely you probably know what's going on, but if you don't, this is a 318 out of a Grand Cherokee. That's a 96 AW4 out of a regular XJ Cherokee. I've cut the bell housing in both of them. I've made a jig. So I milled this piece of aluminum down. It fits over the pump shaft right there, slides up on it. This fits in the back of the Jeep 5.2 crankshaft. That gets them lined parallel. Both the bell housings were milled down on a table, so they was perfectly. Welds are not good. That's not what I'm known for, but it's going to work. Behind you, it's just a regular old TJ. Had the 2.5 in it, and long story, I'm not going to elaborate on that, but this is what I decided to do. And I had a 242, which really ain't going to make no difference, but I had it laying around. If you saw the last video, why I used it, just kind of had it laying around. So I think I've got everything prepped, ready to stick off in there. But I've never done this before, so it's a learning curve for me. One thing I'm going to show you right here, and then I'll flip the camera around and show you what I'm talking about, is like in a ZJ where this come from. And I'll show you my LS Comanche I started. I wish Novak would pick up on this. I really don't know why they dodged it. But usually your motor mount's right here on like a V8. Still working, new camera. But like usually center of the block would be where a motor mount is. I think Jeep on ZJ, WJ, whatever else, they figured out to push the motor mount all the way to the front. And when I show you the control arm, the upper control arm actually will come right in this area right here. Like if you get harsh off-road and actually hit the motor mount bolt. So I think what sucks is, well, from right here to give or take clearance is 16 inches. So let me turn you around. So again, if we took 16 inches and say that motor mount's going to be right in front of this control arm, the back of the motor is right here. So I mean, we still got nearly 10 inches to scoot it back. So I definitely would like to scoot it back as far as possible without making the drive shaft too short. Wranglers are known for that. So we'll just see, whatever it takes. I have no idea. I done cut the motor mounts off. Got a transmission mount. I'm just going to put the transmission mount on and see where it centers up, just for heck of it. More than likely, I'm going to have to build a custom mount. And I know y'all don't care, but if you follow me, I'm still hungover with like the flu or COVID or something, but tired of stuck in the house and ready to do something. So if I seem off, sorry about that. But let's go show you the LS thing first. You can probably figure out why I picked that one to be a sleeper truck. But look under here. See how the motor mount literally hits right on the control arm? So if Novak had have pushed that motor mount up to here, no, it would have been difficult. But that control arm is literally what it's bump stopping on. So I feel like they should have advanced on that, but I'm not Novak, so I don't know. But it'll work for this truck. I'm sorry if there's a crappy angle, but it's 20 degrees and I'm laying on the ground. If you look where that control arm is on the pumpkin there, when it goes up, it's going to be behind that motor mount right there. So that's what I think ideally needs to be done, but I may actually have to go behind the control arm and get on top of it. We'll see. Before I started this project, I did look it up, see if it's ever been done before, and of course it has. It's the internet, everything's been done. And I don't know the guy, I'm not calling him out, but there was one guy, swore up and down, he took a ZJ, like a 96, 7, 8, literally pulled it out, dropped it in, plugged it into the computer, and everything worked. I'm not calling him a liar, but I don't think you can get past ZJ's not skim module, the whole security system. Even like dealerships can't get past it that I know of. So not calling him a liar. The only thing he could have done and didn't admit to was use a Dodge pickup. That's one little trick too. If you're if you got a I'm sick, I'm telling you. If you got a 96, 7, 8 Grand Cherokee and you can't get past the security system, you can take a Dodge or Durango computer that doesn't have security. Literally, if I think I'm right, you can plug it in and just do away with security. Sure, something won't work right, but he claimed not a check engine light. I don't think that's even physically possible. Whatever, I'm doing it differently. So I think I'm going to use the OBD2 computer for gauges in the starting to bleed me, ain't you? Inside the dash there. And then I'm going to use the simple OBD1 harness just because it's quick, easy, like 2 wires, have it running. Let's get the motor in. Alright, I got it in here, and if you don't know me very well, I have a problem. I can't stop, and I want to outdo myself on everything I do. And I forgot this thing just has to run. It's going to go maybe around a back road and maybe to my pond. My cat's going to knock my camera over. But if you can see, the Jeep's sitting flat on the bump stops, which it'll never be there in its life, but that's where it's at. And here's what I was talking about. You see the motor mount right there and right there. That's what I was dreaming on. It's like, if I took them off, I've got like 6 inches there. I could lower everything down and like make this really good. Everything on the sides is pretty clearance. And then I got to thinking, I was like, just mount the motor. What I'm gonna do, raise it up, give me just 3/4 inch clearance. Make some motor mounts come off there. Transmission's very simple, but I'll have to raise it up to show you. And then I'll probably, well, I hadn't thought about removing the motor. I don't guess I'm worried about that. So, I think it's time to start cutting cardboard. Other than that, like I said, I want to take the body lift off. And the more I got to think about it, I said, I'm never going to do that. So, just needs to run and drive. I've got nothing personally against Wranglers. I just have no reason to mess with Wranglers. So, this is my Ranger. So, I'm going to start cutting some cardboard. And I'll probably get all them mocked up. And I think I'm going to pull it back out in the steering shaft over there. Like the, I don't really know if it's called a carriage bearing, but I got to scoot it away from the exhaust manifold. And other than that, everything should be good to go. Somebody in time lapse I know is flipping out because I'm using quarter by 1, but let me show you what I'm doing. And don't forget, I'm like miserable, but I'm here. I'm hanging in there. Just kind of the way I do things. Like I mocked that up there, both sides, and I know that's not strong enough. It probably would hold the motor up, but that's easy to build something. And now what I'm gonna do is take the motor back out, and now I can brace up and I can actually separate those so I know it'll fall into place. But that's just basically a jig, I guess would be the word. So, get the motor out. If we can get some good light, you can see the exhaust is touching the steering bracket, so got to move it over the way. Shouldn't be a big deal on that. As soon as I get the motor bolted in, I'm gonna raise it up, check the transmission mount. Like I said, I think the way it's gonna work, literally just a flat piece of metal with 4 holes and then bolt it to the existing one. Pretty good so far. Like I said, I would love to lower it down, make it all like professional. Just not this cheap. Man, I thought I was gonna have more in me, but I'm tired, I ain't gonna lie. But so far everything's good. It's almost like it's meant to be on some of this stuff. Got the brackets braced up. That's bigger than factory, should be fine. Quarter. Same thing there. And then literally the steering, all I did was take that out, and there's already a hole in that little bracket. And I just put some random piece of something, scooted it over about 1 inch, so that's good. As far as I know, it's ready to swing back over in there. Probably lift it tomorrow, get the transmission settled, start working stuff out. It's gonna be so cool. No, I'm just so curious what that torque motor's gonna feel like with that motor. Alright, boy, if this ain't weird. If you look at the bottom, oh gosh. Yeah, if you look at the bottom of the screen, you see a little square thing. That's the only thing I got to hold the camera with. And it fits the stand right there, so it's just something I'm working with, so bear with me. I was just saying if it's a little shaky, let me grab a light. Motor. Get a new one of them, warranty that one. Like that too. There we go. Motor is bolted in. Looks good to me. I think it's a little unlevel. Could care less. I mean, I know there's going to pop up more ideas, but it's going pretty smooth. I don't know how easy you can tell, but literally, I'm just going to cut a piece of quarter plate and go from those studs back to where it goes. Somewhere back in there, if it makes sense now. Just carry that back there. Drive shaft may actually be longer than a normal TJ drive shaft, which is good. Probably have to make a custom for the front too. Got to get a Cherokee shifter that hopefully should be easy setup. Just gonna bolt a Cherokee shifter right in the floorboard. May have to lift it up, put it on a lift kit. So yeah, that's what I'm working on for now. I'm trying to get work done today, so I'll just kind of touch bases as we go. Transmission spacer, bunch of holes. A little more update, let's check it out. Had to go get a rear shaft out of, I don't even know, but it's got one of them balancers, can't hurt nothing, so got to cut it down. It is going to be longer than the factory shaft, which is good, and for some strange reason, from there to here, the factory shaft is actually an inch short, so should be good on that. What's left? The transmission mount, it was just quarter plate all the way out to here. Okay, now y'all can see. So I had to add this little brace here. It was just a little bouncy. Probably would have worked, but you know. Other than that, in case y'all hadn't seen my hack job, this was a wreck. I just pie cut it and oh yeah. This all should be easy. It's going good. So I'm working on the drive shaft, get both those knocked in there, and probably exhaust, and then probably start buttoning everything up. Obviously it's not an easy job, but it's going good. Radiator might be a little questionable. Everything's going good, check it out. I did notice one kind of bobble I made. This motor mount must have already been blowed out, and if you look, like the rubber is protruding forward instead of backwards, so may get a little metal on metal action right there, but it's gonna be fine. Worst case, I can probably scoot the transmission mount forward, you know, they're adjustable. But front drive shaft, direct fit for some strange reason, don't know why. Yeah, the thing I showed y'all, that little piece added, got exhaust on there, got to bring down my wire, and still got to go get a shifter, it's cold outside. Drive shaft, definitely a hack job, but I've done this so many times it works just fine. I actually used the cardboard liner to line up this piece right here, and I mean, I did them in the dead center of like 30 something inches and have been fine. So could be better, could be worse, but we'll see how it goes. That's cheap and easy. Gotta start pulling wires down from the harness. I'm kind of torn between doing like a full video on the wiring harness, but I think it's gonna be so easy I can just throw it in this video and move on. Maybe down the road do a full standalone harness, but literally I think it's like 2 wires and we can get it running. So these kind of videos are confusing on me because they're kind of like an entertaining TV show, but at the same time they're kind of like learning, but they're not an exact how-to step-by-step. So this is stuff I was doing in the first place. You know, if it comes down to, hey, do a exact step-by-step video of the same process, we'll get it took care of. So I think now I'm gonna let the Jeep down, start plugging away at the top, and like I said, wiring should be, well, we'll get on that, but I think the radiator is probably gonna be my biggest dilemma at this point. So let me get it down, kind of overlook it, we'll go from there. Well, I'm not even gonna lie, I don't even know if I could explain this if I had to. Just to make this one run, literally plug everything back the way it was, plug that in, think that's a constant hot, that's a turn the key on, and then that's an O2 sensor. About 3 wires you could have this one running. What I'm trying to do is tie this harness into the OBD2 harness that the Jeep has on it. That way I have just regular gauges and everything works, turns on the key, but it's very confusing if you don't know what you're talking about. So I've got the four-cylinder harness tied up. Here's where I'm gonna have to extend my coolant so I can read coolant off it. Probably have to get an external source because this will be the gauge for in there, but this computer needs to know the temperature of the motor to know how lean to run, I guess you'd say. Same thing here. Here's the oil pressure. Shouldn't affect the way it runs, so I can just extend this and then get a new, or plug it straight into the pigtail. So that's them two. Don't know if I ever see RPM. That's going to be a, that'll be down the road. That may, yeah, we'll save that one for last. I just want it running. But like I always say, if you turn this computer on, it's not just going to leave the fuel pump running or all the sensors ready to armed, I guess is the word. So I've got to make this computer and that computer and this relay box kind of think that they're on the same track. Whew. It's going to be real. So I'm not going to explain that. I got some diagrams and all this stuff. So that'll be another day's project. But I'm making headway. Just want to get it running first, and then we'll worry about transmission probably another day. I don't know. Step by step. Just got to get it running. Alright, there's wires everywhere. There's stuff everywhere. It's a mess. I was over here trying to bypass the neutral safety switch, and I couldn't find it at all. And everything was 2 wires. Like, that don't make sense. I was like, oh, this stupid thing was a 5-speed. So I thought I bypassed the clutch switch. It didn't work. And then all of a sudden it did work on the test light. So all I want to do, hear it turn over, and that's what I said. If it's crooked, makes noises, I don't care. If this thing will crank 100 times, we'll rebuild. There's no reason it should start that I know of, but I just want to hear it turn over. Yeah, that sounds perfect. Wow. Alright, well, I just wanted y'all to be here. I think it sucks. It's like 10 o'clock on a Friday night, but I just want to hear this thing go whoa. So I'm going to try to button up a couple wires, maybe. Give me a second. Alright, I don't actually know if I'm there, but I just turned the camera on, so I'll cut as I need. But if you got good young ears, like they say, you can still hear high-pitched noises. These old school computers, when they turn on, it's like something you see in a movie, that beep, that build up. You can hear that. If that's on, that means everything should be good on that. But I'm just sticking these off in a hole. I know it's not right. Yep, cycled idle air control, so I think that should be good on that end. I don't even know if the key would have to be on. Let's give it a try, see what happens. It should be nice to get it right the first time, because I pretty much just guessed every color of the wire. I checked my work, but hopefully it's in park. Hopefully it runs. I think we're on to something. No fire. Yeah. So one thing I hadn't mentioned is these have it's not skim module. It's something to do with something in the dash, and as far as I know, same thing. There's no way around it that I know of. But I figured out you can take, let me just go grab it. Pretty sure it's this box right here that says security alarm. That would make sense. I grabbed this one too, but I don't know what it does. But these 2 wires tied together, purple and white, they're the SCI transit bus, whatever. Got to hook those up, and then you got to find all the hots and grounds. There's like 3 grounds. Golly, this has seriously been like 10 years from doing this, and I think I remember every one of them. I think all the blacks are that, and I think all the greens and one more are hots, and then you got to have the yellow and purple. Where's it at? Yeah, purple or yellow. That'll be like your trigger. So basically you just hook it to a ground too. And I think that'll cancel out security, but I don't have fuel pressure, so it hasn't run long enough to say that it's going to act up. It's an iffy kind of system, but got that just in case. I'll show you. But as far as the other wiring, I could do a video on it, but at the end of the video you would just be going to bed. Morning time, I found the pin out for this thing here. So, a lot of wiring. I'm gonna get some stuff knocked out. Hope so. Alright, I know that time lapse probably didn't seem long, but that was pretty legit. I still don't know if I've got everything right. Honestly thinking it probably would have been quicker to use the OBD2 harness and get the Dodge computer like I talked about before, because I can make this one run by itself easy, but being able to tap into this fuse box, my dog, tapping into this fuse box, that wasn't that hard, but now I gotta make this computer, hold on. So I gotta make that computer think that the motor that don't even exist is running. So it's a mess. I wound up running the security box inside the cab, kind of out of the weather. Still a mess. And what I did, I think I can use the ASD relay output from this computer and then trigger the existing relays. And then what would have been rear defrost is now the ASD for this system. So it's confusing. Like, I'm not even wasting my time explaining it, but I'm gonna see if I can get still don't have fuel pressure. That's saving that for last. So I'm gonna see if I can get like 3-4 second kind of delay die, and then if it just cranks up and shuts off, that's still security right there. What are you scared of? You're scared of something. Shouldn't be scared of a V8. Surely I didn't miss nothing at all. It's like that. I know y'all can't hear because of the fan, but I got a crank sensor hooked to the old harness, and I can trigger it and cycle all the relays. So I'm gonna strip this one back. Hopefully, put it in here. It'll fool this computer into, well, basically give them ground to turn on the other relays. Hope so. I'm gonna try it without spraying it yet. Oh me, this is a disaster. I'll pick back up in a second. I was struggling to find a wire inside the cab that come on with a key. Finally, I found one that was for the HVAC, like the heater and all that stuff. Turns out when you're cranking it, it turns all the HVAC off. So it was hot with a key. As you crank it, it turns off. So as I'm trying to crank it, it cut the computers. Rookie mistake. Alright, well that's very tricky. When you crank a vehicle, there's like 6 wires go to ignition switch. And as you crank it, it kills everything that it don't need, like radio, air conditioner, all your light system. All it wants is what needs to run the motor on. So I like to I had to tear, let me show you. No, it don't look like much, but I've looked and looked and looked, and finally I remembered it's the blue wire. Blue wire is what goes to like the ignition outside, so that one stays on with a key. So I think I still got the bypass where the relay for this right here. So this computer don't even know it's running, but it's fooled. See what this does. Still ain't gonna have no fuel pressure. Saving that one for last so we don't have to deal with no fire hazards. Alright, maybe we're on to something now. Maybe. There's a lot going on more than it looks like. Trying to keep up with. Start flood. I see. Just looking for a smooth die instead of killing it with a key. Sounded like a pretty rapid die if you ask me. Dang. These 13's like a lot of starting fluid, but I don't like spraying a lot. I think it's good. I think it's just running out of fuel really, really quick. Because I heard everything click like it was still telling it to be on, so we'll get some fuel run up here, see what happens. The whole time I haven't pulled the wire back to the fuel pump because I just don't want fuel for dangerous reasons. So I'm I might pour some gas on the rag, just try that real quick. I forgot I had my ethanol tester full of gas and I didn't know what to do with it, so as long as I don't pour the water in there, be good. I don't like doing this, but it seems to run a little longer than... It's very tough to call. Let me pour the water out. I think it's still trying to run. Yeah, actually, I acknowledge the camera's running. So yeah, I think that's good. That's longer than it's been running. Like I said, I think it just, as soon as it fires up, a lot of air takes a lot of fuel, so get some fuel up to it, see what happens. It smells like 318. That's so weird how the same gas motors can smell different on the same fuels. Alright, Justin just drove his out, so I'm gonna leave. Y'all don't even need to know that. See, fix some gas leaks. This should be it. Should. Oh, can't rev it up. Obviously, I don't have gauges set up at all. Maybe when I lift her rattling. It ain't much. I noticed when I had the oil filter off, it didn't leak anything. It's got oil. Well, it runs. It don't look proportional. I know people V8 swap these all the time. Yeah, this is gonna be so cool. It's gonna be like so cool, but you don't really do anything with it. You just kidding. I'm probably gonna drive it. She don't need to know that though. Well, it runs. That's step one. So now I'm gonna pull a hard reset, clean up everything, reset all my tools. Probably button up the wire, and I probably won't split loom it yet, just in case I gotta add or subtract or add or whatever. So step one's done. I'm gonna reset and then we'll follow up from there, but it's gonna be a beast for no reason. This is so weird. I ain't never did a straight up motor swap. I mean, I've swapped replacement engines. I've never done stuff like this. Usually it's like bleed the brakes and check the steering and check. This is so weird. But I'm starting to get down there. Power steering was basically, I just kind of skipped around there and hooked the line up. Made a new return line, nothing major. Belt should be ready to go on. Still curious about the radiator. I'm gonna get it in the morning. Then got my throttle cable. A little crooked, but trying to think. I'm still confused. I think I should have got the different year throttle cable. It would have hooked down there, and then kick down actually hooked up perfect, and then it's got the right travel. That's surprising. So got it wrapped around there. I tried mounting the computer with the original bracket and all that, and after I did it, I was like, I'm more of a bungee cord life, so I'm gonna get that on there. I may actually be able to run the stock airbox. There's the 3 bolts right there, so that's close. Got to get some heater hoses. Probably gonna put this sensor in the heater hoses and hook them to the heater core, obviously. Gas pedal, I had to make a copper tube and make sure it went full throttle. Got that took care of. Necessity. But other than that, I think in the morning I got to get a shifter cable. So I'm hoping I can just mount it straight in the floor like you normally would have a Cherokee shifter cable. I think I'm closer than I realize. I don't do these very often, so we'll see here in a minute. Well, y'all will anyway. Alright, I feel like my goal for this video is just to get the thing to drive out of the shop because I don't like long videos. So if I carry on, this will be a super long video. But I think the next part is the shifter. So I wish there was a way to get this top off where y'all could have more light in here. Well, it's not that bad. But I think because of the dash, I'm going to have to get like the 9701 shifter to clear. Maybe we can just sheet metal screw it down. I don't know. Let's go get one. Alright, let's go find a shifter. Around here we've been fighting, what do they call it? Winter. It's been like in the 40s and 50s. I ain't touched this stupid Jeep in like a week and a half. It's been cold. Oh yeah. Feel like it's crazy. A Jeep ain't been cranked in a week. Alright, I'll be down there in a second. Alright, so there's obviously a lot of Jeeps to pick from. Shifters really don't matter. The problem is I gotta find one with a dash, or not the dash, the center console out. Maybe that one right there. Turn on. For whatever reason, this was a wreck. I don't know if you can see right there. I have made more money off this particular Jeep. I have no idea why. I sold everything off of it. It's got a shifter. Definitely need that. There's a tornado. Somewhere. So it's got a shifter and it's got a shifter. So that's all we need. I'm gonna get that took out. And I don't know, I don't do this very often. This V8 swap. Got us a shifter, got a shifter cable, and I got to looking. I think if you look about right there, there's where the shifter goes. So I'm gonna knock that plug out and see if we can get something turned down on there. Body lift probably not a necessity, but it's making everything a lot easier and care less, it works. So I made me a custom transmission line there. Put some fluid in it, and that's what I got to thinking. I'm working around the lift. I was like, I think I can just pull the Jeep forward. I think. It's not done. See, I got me a shifter here, so I have to shift it by hand, but kind of curious if it'll move or if the transmission's any good. Find out. Maybe it's got enough transmission fluid. I just poured some in there. Maybe it'll work. know why that wouldn't be first gear. That's kind of strange. First should be all mechanical. Alright, I'll be right back. Alright, I know it's probably not how you wanted the video to end, but I'm about 4 or 5 days into this project. No, it probably don't seem like it, and still got a lot to go. So my motivation level starts decreasing. I start rigging stuff, not doing stuff hack job. So we'll take a break from this one, and then just once I get motivated, we'll get back on. Still curious about first. Pretty sure first gear is just low of transmission fluid. Have a good day.